Hello and welcome to Dongermet channel. This evening we will be cut testing for butcher style knives on the medium of some homemade bacon previously prepared by my lovely wife. It is delicious, I can affirm. So we're going to look at the knives first. Starting from here, this is a case from a collection that came in a block. This is a recent acquisition of mine. This will be the first cut made with this knife. This is a Bear & Son kind of butcher blade. It's quite robust, and I think that this would actually make an excellent kind of mountain man style knife. G10 handle. The blade is 14C28N, which is a steel that it's been around for a while, but I think it's gaining in reputation at the moment. This is a Falkniven. This will also be the first cut. This is a new knife. Can't remember the model, but it's a Sanmai blade. I think it's VG10 in the core here. And it looks beautiful, I must say. And then for number 4, this is a knife that I made out of an old Taiwanese kitchen cleaver that I found in the thrift store in the bucket. So it had a kind of it was flat here, and it had I think it had some of this sway, and it came up and it had that kind of hole, and it had a whole chunk down there that I cut off, and I'm making another knife out of that part. And this I had in a different configuration. Then I went to a friend's house who was butchering pigs. And I came back from that experience kind of wanting to make a butcher knife. I was influenced by what I'd seen and what I'd done there. And so I repurposed that knife into this. And so yeah, but this is really why I'm making this video in a sense, I guess, is because I'm interested to test this knife in the company of other knives, that would be fit for the same kind of purpose, kind of comparative study. So just look at some basic specs. We've got weight we can look at. This one's definitely going to be the heaviest. 7 point, what are we in here? Fluid ounces, 7.4 fluid ounces. Grams, what do people do around here? What are we doing? What are we going for? Pounds and ounces. 8 ounces. The case is 4.7. The Falkniven, 3.6, a real featherweight. And the Scolder, a 5.4. The knives are all quite similar in size, lengthways. These two are coming in at about 6 inches, and these two are coming in. This one's a 5 1/4, and this one's a 5 1/2. So yeah, pretty similar in that regard. And then a little bit more by eye. These two are going to be at about 3/32 of an inch stock thickness. This one is going to be right down at a 1/16, and this one is going to be somewhere in between. And the grind, this is a hollow grind, very well worn in as well. Really no kind of shoulder behind the cutting bevel here, so it's kind of convexed in, but certainly still very pronounced shoulder on the hollow grind there. So that's quite going to be the most distinctive grind, because the others are kind of variations of flat. Here we have this very kind of robust, chunky flat grind with a steeper primary bevel, what I would call the primary bevel. And then these two are kind of convexed. And I actually saw this right after I made this one, and I thought that would be a really interesting comparative study. So it turns out, they're quite different in terms of dimensions, but definitely kind of a similar notion in terms of the profile there. more of the bullnose style, as opposed to the trailing point on these two. And then balance point is pretty similar on all of them, but it's a little more forward heavy on these two. These two, the balance point falls right on the index, and these two a little further back maybe. This is, yeah, I mean, it's a little further back. The balance point, the grinds, thickness. This is very thick, as I say. This looks like you could take it out and chop a tree down with it. Probably, I'm by eye over 25 thousandths of an inch behind the edge. This is very thin, below 10 thousandths, and these two behind the edge is whatever the thickness is here, because they're convex. There would be really no way to tell, but if I make this, I can tell that this is very nicely thinned out and convexed. And then this one, the grind is it's kind of a little bit compound, because I tried to thin out the knife as much as possible down here and then keep it a little thicker up here. So down here behind the edge is, yeah, I don't know whether you can see that, but I can see the light changing. Maybe if you focus in on that, you can see that, the ripple of my nail moving behind the edge, and that will cease to be the case when I come up here. So this kind of an experimental and intuitive and fairly obvious grind, right? Because down here, the edge is very well supported. You can have it extremely thin, especially because it's for cutting something like this. You know, it's not, if you were in danger of butting up against bone and that kind of thing, you would be probably using this part of the knife anyway, which is more robust. So, let's make some cuts. I think that this one is going to be the least good performer because of the initial geometry, so I'll just start with that and get this out of the way. I'm going to be trying to cut this bacon pretty thin. You know, not somewhere between, let's say, you know, really thin and chunky, but more on the thin side. Also, this is, we're kind of in the crust here, so. Yeah, that felt pretty good, actually. That felt pretty good. I do have a piece of paper here as well, just to do some... Oh, this is a piece of paper that got wet and then dried out again. So it's not necessarily very friendly to cutting test. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be slicing paper well at all, but I don't know, that could be because it's all got fat all over it now. Forget the paper. We'll forget the paper. I think we can drop the notes now as well. Cutting, observations, possibly, yada, yada. Okay. Yeah, not really so very interested in this, but I'll tidy this piece up here with this one. But yeah, it's not slicey. It's not slicey at all. Like I say, this is like this is in bushcraft mode right now. So forget that. I think it's a really cool knife, and I would like to. And I got some more. Also got a fillet knife and a kind of a kitchen knife. I wouldn't know what to call the profile, but a bit more of a cleaver style blade from Bear & Company recently. Also because I got this Bear Ops knife from Bear & Company. Woohoo! Let's cut a piece of bacon with this just quickly. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not going to do that. That would be a wasted opportunity to test one of these. Okay, let's try the case. Yeah, that's certainly a superior experience. But you know, this is practically what this is made for. This kind of thing, I guess, right? So. The sharpness is just however it is here lying around. Probably not very sharp, but it's probably been used recently. But it's very thin behind the edge, and so it just works even so. So yeah, quite pleased with that. Now the falcon even. This one I'm really curious. Oh, that's wonderful. See how it's not bunching up? It's just staying straight, it's shrugging really well off the convex, I guess. Lovely. Yeah, I don't know that I got it. I actually got it a little thinner with the case there. Let me try this again though. You know, going from one knife to another as well, they're going to handle so differently, potentially. Well, they ought to, with precisely the opposite grind. Still a little thick. I think maybe I was getting a better thickness with the case here. Maybe a bit better control of this slicey hollow grind at the start there. Yeah, that was too thin. Let me see if I can make one too thin with this. Now, yes, so now I'm getting the thickness I want. Probably about that. Cool. Not very wide across here. You know, I think that maybe having the extra width on this one is going to help. Well, this is exactly what I was hoping for, I think. I think that's what's happening here. Let me just make one more with each of these, and then I'll get back to that one. Yeah, I didn't even make it all the way through. It feels great though. The handle feels great. This blade profile is excellent for this task. I mean, it just needs to be thinned out a lot. For you know, this is the kitchen range, by the way. This is the Bearing Company. Pretty sure this is one's from the kitchen range. The other two that we got, the handle is actually white bone with black G10 bolster, and it is chef's kiss, no pun intended. But this comes with this sheath, you know, cold steel style, black plastic, whatever-y. But you know, it's great retention on it. I'm not going to put it in there and foul it. But that's good. And also the Falcon even also comes with this sheath. So that's a nice practical addition. This comes with a knife block, and this has nothing as of yet. Right, so we've done that once more. This knife, I feel like maybe would be better on like fresh meat. Seems like more of a fresh meat processing knife to me. Maybe a comparison there with like doing, you know, your green wood versus your seasoned wood. You know, fresh meat versus cured. This has got to be a lot tougher, I guess. Yeah, I like it. I don't like the feel of the handle very much at all. I don't really like this kind of handle, but it's fine. It's very lightweight. The whole thing feels very, you know, it's nice. I think this might be the best knife actually for this task. I don't know. I'm between these two now. Let me try this one again. Oh, okay, yeah, I like this one better. And I would naturally have a bias because I made this knife I did even modify the handle ever so slightly from but this is, it was the original handle of the old Taiwanese cleaver there, which I would suppose came from the 90s. So, but I did modify it slightly, and the blade, everything is kind of set up by me, so it should be according to my preference. It should be the one that works best for me. How well it would fare in terms of edge retention, it is very thin, so if you were doing this, I think the edge would probably hold quite a long time. This is a mystery steel, but my best guess would be 440A. It is a pain to grind. It takes forever. But I'm really pleased with the result. Let's do another couple of cuts with this and compose myself for wrapping up this video. Well, I think we'll be having bacon for breakfast tomorrow. And that's not a bad thing. So, if you're familiar with the Very Good Knife Company, something about this handle, when I was looking at this knife as I was making it, something about the handle reminded me of the Very Good Knife Company handles. It just kind of has a bit of that look, and that got me to thinking also, because once I had this ready and I was doing some testing with it and stuff, I thought, this is I really like this, and I like the idea of making a run of knives, some kind of run of knives, and I don't have to make the whole thing myself, but I'm kind of interested in the design and the grinding. I can't heat treat, so I can't do that stuff. I'm not a custom knife maker. I'm just an amateur. But it occurred to me that Nitro V, wouldn't that be a great steel for this? And Nitro V, somehow that made me think also of Jacob at Very Good Knife Company. Anyway, long story short, I called him up. I didn't get through, but he got back to me. He returned my call. And I said, hey, would you be interested possibly in making me some blanks of this knife design that I could send you, and then I'll do the grinding, and then, I don't know, I only want to make maybe 10, let's say. But maybe you could sell some on your website or not, or I don't know what. We could figure that out. And this was maybe a month and a half ago, or I don't know when this happened. It was a while ago now. And since then, I misplaced the knife because I was really smart and I put it in a drawer where I wouldn't lose it. And then I forgot that I did that. And then I've been procrastinating doing this video that I wanted to make, wherein I tested it against some other knives. And then, kind of to record the moment and take it from there. And so taking it from there, I'm thinking, yeah, I should just do that. Send it to Jacob if he's still up for it, because circumstances may have changed. He's a very busy man. He's not, I don't think he's desperate for work, but he seemed like he's a facilitator, right? He wanted to help make it happen, maybe, if he can. So if anyone's interested, yeah, let me know if you think that this is something, because I think I'm going to make some anyway, but I would be interested to hear people's thoughts if that is something that they would be interested in, think it's a good idea, whether they have any suggestions. What do you think about having it full tang versus enclosed tang, handle materials, anything? I invite any kind of input. That would be great. And so we've come to the end. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks, B, for the pigs, the bacon, the farmers, the knives, the wonderful camera lady, and for the wonderful audience. And all the best. Bye.